Welcome, everyone. If you have tight hips, back pain, and sciatic irritation, you've probably been stretching a lot. I know I did too, for months. But no matter how much I would stretch, the pain would always come back. Eventually, I realized that stretching was not helping any of my problems and it was only masking them. Today, I'm going to share with you 3 things that I started to focus on that completely changed how my body moves and feels. Now, these aren't overly complicated and they have nothing to do with stretching, but they target the root cause of your problems instead of just giving you temporary relief that's just not going to last. So let's break them down. Now, the first thing that I started to pay more attention to was my postural alignment. When your pelvis, spine, and rib cage aren't stacked properly, everything above and below your body begins to compensate for that, especially your low back and your hips. The more I began to notice and pay attention to how my body would naturally position itself when I'm just standing, the more I can see what sections of my body were misaligned and what micro adjustments were needed to get a more aligned posture. So I'm gonna show you guys live right now, but I want you to do this with me. All you need to do is stand in front of a mirror and get a nice, good side view of your body. Just like that. Just stand naturally. And you're gonna see all your mistakes now. Like usually most people, one problem I see is that people flare their rib cage because they like to poke their chest out. They think that that's gonna help them have a straighter, taller posture, but all you're doing by poking your chest and your rib cage out is shortening your spine. So you kind of want to try to keep your rib cage tucked in. And the second place people mess up commonly is their abs. They're usually poked out. You want your core to be nice and activated and a little bit tucked in as well, so it's not poking out and furthering the shortening of your spine. So rib cage in, core nice and tucked. And one other mistake people make a lot is overly anteriorly tilting their hips or dipping their pelvis forward. And that, once again, a lot of these misalignments cause your spine to be shortened, and that's what contributes to a lot of your symptoms. So just look at yourself naturally, don't even think about it, and then see where you could spot your mistakes. Maybe you're puffing your chest out too much. You kind of want to bring that back in a bit. Maybe your abs are out, bring that back in as well. And then maybe you're dipping your hips forward too much. You don't want that. Kind of stick your butt back in, tip your pelvis back, and you get more of a straight alignment. And it doesn't have to be perfect. A lot of these little tiny micro adjustment movements take a lot of practice to really learn and understand where you're messing up and how you can fix it to get better alignment for yourself, to move and to just stand with better posture. The second thing you should be focusing on is glute strength and activation. For the longest time, my glutes were not firing at all. They weren't even doing their job. And because of that, my hamstrings and my low back had to compensate and overly work, which contributed to the same pain cycle I kept being in with my low back, hip, and sciatic problems. Now, simple exercises like controlled step-ups, hip abductions, and bridges will get your glutes firing again and reteach them how to stabilize your hips and activate during exercise. For the longest time, I honestly neglected and just did not like to train my glutes, but if you ignore your glutes, it will come back to bite you, and that is not fun. So please train your glutes, especially if you don't like it. It don't matter. Just drop the ego and do it. You might look ridiculous, but you have to do it. You have to train your glutes because it is one of the most foundational and important muscles for daily movement and athletics. I cannot stress how important good, strong, healthy glutes are. Just do it. Now, the third and final thing I began to focus on instead of just stretching all the time is my feet. This is often one of the most overlooked things for those with low back, hip pain, sciatica problems, right? Weak feet and a poor toe splay were throwing off everything up the chain. Your feet are literally your foundation. They carry all of your weight. So if they struggle, everything above you is gonna struggle as well. And it's so easy to start strengthening your feet by just incorporating things like, your barefoot shoes. You're going to strengthen them just by walking in them. Your toe spacers, you're going to get more space and more toe activation because you're going to improve your splay. And all you have to do is just wear them every day for like a couple minutes. And you can start to warm up by massaging your feet, and that's going to improve your circulation and give you more activation as you open up your foot by massaging them daily before you do exercise. It's very easy to begin strengthening your feet, and you have a lot of different tools and options to use. And that's aside from doing foot strengthening exercises. If you do that too, you're going to go even more farther. So don't ignore your feet. That's the last thing I was ignoring for the longest time. And once I improved my foot situation, everything else improved for me. So instead of wasting all that time stretching, only getting about 5 minutes of relief, you should just take a step back and look at the bigger picture. Maybe you don't need any more flexibility. Maybe what you actually need is better postural alignment, glute strength, and more stable feet. Once I made that shift in my training and daily practice, I didn't feel the need to spend hours on end wasting time stretching anymore because my body felt more supported and stable. And these things target the root cause of your issue and not just the symptoms. If you're stuck in the same loop I was for the longest time of just stretching every single day but getting absolutely nowhere with your situation, try to focus your attention to the 3 things we discussed in this video, as I know they made a huge difference in my own personal hip rehab journey, and they can do the same for you. Thank you for watching this video. If you found anything useful, comment, like, subscribe, and thank you for your time.